Hey guys, welcome to the second video in my Special Effects Basics series. I'm going to be doing 3 different stages of cuts and how they heal. So the first one is this open wound on the cheek, the second one is a stapled up cut on the forehead, and the third, although it's very light in the video, is a healed up scar. The first cut that I will be showing you is the open wound cut on the cheek created from liquid latex. So you're going to start out with a prepped face, and then you're going to use an eyeliner pencil to sketch the outline of the cut that you want. Because this is the open wound, try to keep a large center for the cut so it looks like your face was torn open. Then, using Vaseline, coat any baby hairs that are close to where you will be placing the liquid latex. Using a triangle makeup sponge and some liquid latex, which, disclaimer, smells like sewer, I'm going to be applying a small amount of liquid latex to my cheek, going over the sketch of the cut. And contrary to what you were told in grade school, make sure that you do go outside of the lines to ensure full coverage. Liquid latex dries clear, so once you see your skin again, it's time to add the second layer, blow dry it until that layer is clear too, and then add the third layer, and you guessed it, dry that too. Then you're going to grab a square of toilet paper and begin to rip it up into irregular shapes. You want to try to get them so that they will fit along the outline of your cut, leaving the middle section of the cut tissue free. Then you're going to douse everything in a nice coat of liquid latex and follow up with a blow drying session. So once it's dry, it should look a little something like this, and this is when we're going to go in with a pair of tweezers to the middle of the cut and slowly grab the latex, not your skin, and then pull it away from your face. Then using a pair of rounded scissors, you're going to snip the latex that's being pulled to create a tiny hole in the layer, which then you can pick at with the tweezers. And then you'll be able to gently slide your rounded scissors in between the thick latex and your skin and cut up and down along where your cut will be. Then using your scissors, cut perpendicular to the line that you just cut in order to make the skin flaps look more jagged. You can even tear a little bit to create the effect that should end up looking something like this. After you're done cutting, take a generous amount of baby powder and an old brush and powder up the entire wound to eliminate the shine. To make your cut appear bigger, you can add some latex to one of the flaps and then pull it outwards to make the cut look more open. Quick mac and cheese break, and then it's time to start painting using Mehron's Mask Cover Cream Blend palette in the shade that matches my skin, which is light olive, and I'm going to apply this all over the prosthetic, especially where we applied the tissue paper, in order to eliminate the whiteness that was underneath. Then we are going to powder the prosthetic with Mehron's ColorSet powder, because normally when you place cream paints on top of latex, they tend to move around a lot, but this powder presses into the cream paint and allows it to stay where I placed it. Using Mehron's Bruise makeup wheel in the shade Black, grab a small brush and outline the inside of the cut to create depth. Then bring that black paint into the center for a shading effect. Going in with the brown from the same palette, cover the entire inside of the cut, blending the brown and the black together. Don't forget to cover the inside of the cut even up at the tapered ends. Then you're going to cover absolutely everything with the red of this palette, creating an evenly shaded red tone inside of your cut. You can go back in with the black and browns if you lost some of the shading in that process. I like to use the red cream paint to drag out the ends of the cut to make it look more realistic, and I also use the same red to paint the inside of the skin flaps. It is also important to bloody up where the skin supposedly tore. I personally like to go in with faded reds to create areas of irritation, however you have to be very careful when you do this in order to make sure that you aren't over bloodying your look. If you do apply too much red, you can go back in with the skin-colored cream paint or any light concealer to go over the irritation areas to make them appear more like they're under your skin rather than just sitting on top of it. Then powder everything again with the Mehron ColorSet powder to keep it in place. Using some Graftobian Gel blood, we're going to apply a thick layer inside of our cut. Gel bloods are designed to look wet but not move, so fill the entirety of the cut with this blood. Going along the inside of the skin flaps is a good idea to make this tear look more realistic, as well as using a bit of blood on your finger to make it look like a more gory wound. Also using the gel blood, I simulate some thick blood dripping from the bottom of the cut. Then, for the final touch, I use Mehron Stage Blood, which is a liquid-based blood, to create the wet drippy effect. So here's the final open wound cut created from liquid latex, and as you can see, it looks gross when I move my face around. This is the first stage of cuts that I'm going to be showing you. Now moving on to the stapled up wound made from silicone, we're going to start off again sketching out our cut. But because this time they're staples, the outline of the cut is going to have varying wide and narrow areas to simulate skin being pulled together. Using more Vaseline, if I can get it open, I coat the hairs near where I will be applying the silicone. This is to protect them from later being pulled off when I take off the silicone prosthetic. Alcone's 3rd degree silicone comes in parts A and B, and I'm going to be using a skin-colored part B today to blend it into my skin. Part B actually comes in clear, blood tone, and skin tone to match whatever kind of wound you're making. As mentioned before, with silicone you have to keep the two parts very separate until you're ready to mix them, and then the silicone will then start to cure in about 5 minutes, which totally gave me enough time to accidentally get fake blood in my hair. After you fix that problem, go in with the silicone while it's still in a semi-liquid state and place it along the outline of your cut, blending out any edges with the spatula or your finger. If the silicone starts to drip into the middle of your wound, you can press it back with the spatula. Once you place the silicone, it should look something like this. Then you're going to baby powder that cut and start with the same paint job as the cut before, starting with the black outline, the brown shading, and then going in with the red all over. Then I went in with the light olive from the original Mehron palette and added some highlighting to the silicone so it would look more raised. Then I powdered everything with the ColorSet powder again. Using Graftobian Blood Gel, I'm going to fill in the cut and then bloody up the surrounding area. I pre-made the staples for this tutorial, but basically how you make them is that you take some wire, and I use flower wire that is used for gardening, and you just bend them and then cut them into the shape that you want. Take some spirit gum and apply some of it to each end of your staple and wait for that to get tacky before placing the staple on one of the more narrow parts of your cut. Do this for each of your staples. So this is the final look for the stapled up cut that was created with 3rd degree silicone and wire. This is the second stage of a cut that I'm going to show you. Moving on to the last stage, I'm going to be showing you how to make a scar, and sadly my camera didn't pick up on this as much, so it looked very faded. However, when you do this at home in real life, it looks very realistic. So this time for the outline, you're going to use any light pink lipstick or eyeliner. Then you're going to grab some rigid collodion, which smells like a very harsh chemical, and then you're going to trace the outline that you made of your scar. Allow this to dry and then apply several more layers. Now what rigid collodion does is that it dries out the skin and pulls it together, so it creates an almost sunken in effect, which is what scars have. Same as what I did with the silicone, I mixed the light olive and the white cream paints to create a highlight effect for the scar. I was then disappointed that my camera wasn't picking up the depth of the scar even though it looked great in real life, so I went in with a light lip gloss and made the scar appear more pink in order to show some depth. I then added baby powder to remove the shine. So that is the scar, which is the last stage of the cuts. Okay guys, so those are the 3 stages of healing cuts, starting with the open wound and then having that wound be stapled up, and then finally the wound healing into a nasty scar. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it informative and that it can help you when you're trying to make yourself into your very own slasher victim.